guys, thanks for watching Weddings by Cled. One of my favorite parts of planning a wedding or event is assembling the dream team. This is the group of wedding pros responsible for making your day amazing. In my journey as a planner, I've been humbled by the level of passion and talent that exists in this industry. I feel like I'm in a super cool club of like-minded pros who absolutely adore what we do. So I created Meeting the Dream Team, a series dedicated to the folks who make it all happen behind the scenes. When you're in the wedding trenches together for this long, these people are like family, and boy do we have stories to tell. I'm thrilled to kick off Meeting the Dream Team with Cori. Pat is an award-winning photographer who puts every client at ease, and this is so important on such an emotionally charged day. Pat has mad powers when it comes to capturing the most heartfelt moments, and overall, she's a blast to work with. It is so good to have you on here. I can't think of a better vendor to start the Meeting the Dream Team series with. It was gonna be visiting vendors, but I was like, no, vendors is too impersonal. This is a dream team, and you define dream in the team to me. It's been such a pleasure working with you through the years. And this is about telling stories of how you do your craft and how we work together, and maybe a couple of little, maybe a couple little funny stories. I mean, we've all had challenges over the years. But I think back, we were just talking about this earlier, how we met. Yes. And it was like 8 years ago.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was, and the funny thing is, you were second shooting.
I was carrying heavy bags.
But you know what? This is the funny thing. I thought you were the main photographer, because I guess I hadn't seen who you were working with, and I didn't know either of you at the time. So you just had that presence about you. This one knows what she's doing. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I saw you walking towards us.
Oh gosh.
Oh no. Oh my gosh. You were so confident. You just you had this light. I mean, you just came towards us and you were telling us about the program. And I just remember asking who is she? Who is she? I was like,
did you?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Yes, absolutely. And, the photographer that I was working for said, she's an event planner. She's very popular around here. You might work a lot with her.
You think?
Yeah. And oh my gosh, there was just something about you that I was drawn to, because you just had that confidence, and I just remember that everything was just going so smoothly with you around.
Well, thank you, because as we both know, not everything was smooth behind the scenes, and we're not going to say what wasn't, because we don't tell. But and that's the beauty of this, is that the dream team works together to make sure that everybody's happy, and that there's this image of everything's just perfect, because there's always stuff going on behind the scenes. Always. I mean, don't we know it? You know. But it's funny that we both had that kind of impact on each other at that first meeting, because it was a few years, I think, before we kind of started working together. Yeah, a few years went by. Yeah. And I watched your business grow. I watched you, because you were everywhere. I think you said you had your first wedding on your own in 2012. Yes. And then how many in 2000?
One wedding in 2012, and then I went to 8 the year after, then 15 the year after. Yeah. And the year after I had 32, which, it was crazy.
So that grew exponentially.
It did.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason, because I mean, you're just so damn good. You're just I mean, there's a reason for that. And just watching your business grow and getting to know you, I mean, one of the things that I really appreciated and admired was not just how good you are at photography, but the passion and the investment that you put into building the business of it. I think it was, I remember when we got together and had dinner, and you told me about the book Marketing, A Love Story, right? Yes. And I think you said it to me, and I was like, oh my God. Yeah. But that really spoke to me that, this is that important to you.
Well, I think you pick up a camera and you have an eye. That's what, you start with. You have an eye. And then from there, you have to build onto that. And you don't realize that when you're starting off, it's a business too. It's not just like picking up a camera and having an eye.
Yeah.
It's about feeling inspired. It's about creativity. It's trying to stand out and trying to serve your customers as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Just like trying to be there for them, building that trust, building that relationship with them.
Yeah, and that's something very special in the wedding business, because I think, in this business, this is, as I've said before, we're an interesting little crew of people, wedding industry people.
Yeah.
We have a real passion for what we do, but on the other side of it, I think there's a lot of people out there who are just picking up cameras and saying, I'm a photographer, and you're so far from that, and you've done so much to grow your business. And I mean, it's every time I turn around, you're in Italy doing a photo.
Yes. Well, I tried to mix up some of my passions, and one of my passions was traveling since I was little.
Yeah.
And so destination weddings was always something that I was drawn to. Mm-hmm. And so why not? I mean, trying to do both things that you're really passionate about,
Yeah.
And, and about that relationship, it's just when I first started off, it was about working with a couple, posing them, having a pretty background, and then you realize that it's not about that. And
that's the icing on the cake.
Yeah. I mean, what you want is truly capture your couples for who they are. Mm-hmm. You want them to look back 10 years from now and to think that was us.
Yeah, and that's so important. And you sort of get to know them, and you dig deep,
I do.
And I've seen that through your work with your engagement sessions, and that's something I always tell my clients, always have an engagement session.
Yeah.
So the photographer knows how you are in front of a camera.
Yeah.
And you're comfortable with each other, but you take those even further.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the things I've seen that you've done are just incredible and raw, going into people's homes. It used to be, you'd get all dressed up and you'd go downtown or, go to some, hotel or something, but you get down and gritty, you get in their homes and they're in jeans.
Yes, I love that, because you're actually they're allowing you in their place where they're comfortable. And and of course, it's a whole process. I talk over the phone with my couples, we have a group messaging going on with a couple. And even if it's just one of the two that chats the most, the other one is at least in the loop. And they're knowing, what's happening.
Yeah.
And then from there we go on to video chats. And during those video chats, I see how they connect, how they touch each other, how they look at each other. I mean, that means so much to me, because it's not easy to capture the personality of a couple if you don't have that previous.
Oh yeah, that gives me goosebumps, because that's the stuff that I see in your photos, and that's why you capture those magical moments, because you've studied them.
Yeah.
You've studied them as subjects.
Yeah.
And that's why on the wedding day, you may see that touch and you know how much it means. It's not canned.
No.
It's not oh, I'm going to stand here and smile and put my arm around.
Right.
It's real.
Yeah.
And you're right there for those pictures. And that's what just makes them so.
Yeah. Well, especially in those in-home sessions.
Yeah.
I mean, some couples are just not comfortable, they don't know what to expect. So they're nervous about their sessions. They want something that makes them feel comfortable. So being in their homes, it just brings them on a different level, because that's where they're comfortable. And so and then I can pick on things a guitar and getting them to play it.
Oh, I remember those. That was amazing. Yeah, we both worked with that couple, and I think that wasn't even planned. No. You went to their house, and you just saw the guitar, right? And you said, "Whose is that?"
Yeah.
And he was so proud of it.
Yeah, and he said, "Could you play something for her?" And he just did, and it was just magical. There were moments where I was behind the camera and I was shooting, and I just didn't want to breathe, because I was scared that if they
Oh my God, you're giving me goosebumps.
It's true, like, you know,
Yeah.
because in those moments, they're like,
Yeah.
you know, they don't even think that you're there.
Yeah.
And so I was like, if I breathe, they're gonna remember that I'm here, and this magical moment is gonna be like interrupted.
Well, that reminds me, when you say you didn't want to breathe, it reminds me of a moment, a special moment we always have at the wedding. And I know this couple we're talking about,
Yeah.
where we, you know, once they get down the aisle, that's my time to breathe, like, because, you know, I'm a pet peeve, like 5
Yeah.
o'clock, it's got to be on time. So 5 o'clock, everybody's down, and then I'm like, woo, and then you're on,
Breathe,
and you're
yes.
on. But we're all standing there together, you know, and it's usually the production, like the planner, the photographer, Jacob over here, production, video, and we're all watching. And I remember, and that wasn't the only way, we cried. We
Oh my
cried!
gosh, yes, we did. We
Because
did.
like we just all like connected with them, and that's like what makes a dream team. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah, that was awesome. But you know what? As we both know, we've done this for as long as we have. It is not always perfect.
No.
And even that wasn't perfect, but it was damn close. So what challenges do you see, like in the planning process or on the wedding day? I mean, we all have like stuff that we have to deal with behind the scenes. Like, what are your challenges like in photography?
So most of my couples, like I talk to them, you know, like I said, we have all this communication before. So we talk about a timeline, we talk about lighting, we talk about when it's the best time, like, you know, to go for portraits. But probably one of the biggest challenges right now, it's with today's technology, is like, you know, people stepping in front of us with their cell phones, with their iPads. And I know that they don't mean it like in a bad way. They just want, they see the moment, they want to capture it, you know. But I mean, that means a lot, because like there's shots that could be ruined by a flash from a camera, or, you know, by someone just like stepping in front of me, like while the bride is like walking down the aisle. And so like that's a moment that you can't replicate.
And you're so gracious about it too, because I think I would blow a gasket. I mean, here's your perfect shot. Sometimes it's like the kiss.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Uncle Bob pops out,
Oh, yeah.
you know, thinking he's doing good. Yeah, but somehow, Pat, you've always managed to get it.
I try to. I mean, there's been like, you know, a few accidents where like, you know, I really had to like, you know, either move the person in front of me or like try to shoot through the arm to get the shot, because it was just like so unexpected.
Well, I don't know, what can we do about that? I mean, should we like cordon off the aisles, or,
Well,
you know,
I
I mean,
mean,
we put signage out, you know.
Well, the thing is, this is like, you know, unplugged weddings right now are popular in these past years. Like brides have been talking about it.
But people don't always.
They don't.
No, they don't. I mean, we put all the signs out, you know, and we tell them. And I've even had ones where the officiant will say something.
Yeah.
It's like so unorthodox, but they'll say something before, please don't use your phones, and they still pull them out. So you know what, Pat? I think we need to have a box. I think we need a box at the door, and like this sign says, check your phone at the door.
Yes.
There is no reason
That you need
it. And if you
during
really
those
need
15,
it,
20 minutes,
yeah, like
really.
if there's an emergency, you can.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we need to like have a box, because
like
it
that
is
idea.
it's getting kind of crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like with the new technology, and people
Yeah.
just wanted to be on top of it and document everything that they have in front of them.
Yeah, they mean well.
Yeah, they mean well, but
still,
it's still, it's still
Yeah.
scary.
And that also, we see that behind the scenes, you know, and this is one of the reasons I tell my brides, like, don't use your friends, you know, because a lot of times I'll hear, well, we're hiring this photographer, but, you know, my cousin, he's going to shoot the whole thing on his iPhone, or even with a camera. And, you know, it's like, whoa, you know, you have to think about your other vendors, because I've seen it where people have used amateurs and they get in each other's shot. You know, it's all about them, and they're worried about their thing. So, and I know you've probably had some instances with that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, with other vendors, I mean, that's always, the communication is at the base of everything.
Yeah.
You know, I've had, you know, videographers that had like multiple stands like down the aisle, but like, you know, the fact of like just communicating and like talking, you know, and being open and having a plan, you know, before you go out there, I mean, that just means the world.
Oh yeah, yeah, and just respect for each other.
Correct.
And I love how, like, when you're on the team, just how we all kind of like help each other. You know, I mean, it just works so beautifully.
It does, because like you know exactly that I'm going to need some time for the portraits, when I'm going to need that time, and you make everything happen so that like, you know, that can happen in that moment.
And I always try to tell you, I always give you time.
You do, yeah. No,
in case you need to like change out your gear or something.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, I've had like DJs where they announce something, you know, when you're not there, and like, you know, that's usually, you know, DJs that don't have an experience, or you know, people,
or there's no wedding director there.
Correct.
You know, that happens. Yeah.
So
when you're in the very beginning stages, you know, and you're meeting, and you know, I know you do cool stuff. You do like the wine meetings.
I do.
Like we're having tonight.
Yes.
We had to have wine for this.
Yes.
You know, and you do your Zooms and everything, because a lot of your clients are probably out of town. You know, because everybody's global now. So what kind of things do you get asked? What kind of things do you think they should be asking? Like, just what advice do you have, you know, for brides that are shopping for photographers? What should they be asking?
I mean, I think it's really important when we have those video chats, because like, you know, they get to see you and they get to ask all the questions, and like, you know, most of the popular questions are like, you know, the images, can I print my own images, or, you know, what is included in your collections? Like, what is the time frame? What is the timeline that I need? Like, how many hours do I actually need, you know, throughout a wedding? A lot of couples, they come in and they don't know the cost, they don't know the time, so they start off and they need your advice on all of that. And so if you have, you know, an idea of like how long a timeline and a wedding day is, that helps a lot, you know, with them planning out the whole thing. But then one thing that is important to me, and I always ask all my couples, is just imagine that you're opening up a wedding album. Like, I would like to know, what is it that you would like to see on there? Like, what are the images that you would like to see, like 10 years from now? You're actually like looking at that book.
What's important?
What is important to you?
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's where I think like I can see, you know, if the couple that I'm talking to is actually a couple that like connects with my brand, and that, you know, and that I'm their match, because I'm not everybody's match.
And I think that when you say, you know, what do you want to be looking at, that kind of brings me back, because a lot of couples go, do I get the photographer for 6 hours, for 8 hours? You know, and that's an important thing, because sometimes when they have you here, like sometimes I'll ask you, like, how long are you on for? And you'll say like midnight. And we both know, like, after the cake is cut, like it's all just dancing. How many people put all of those in their album?
Not many.
Probably because everybody's kind of like, by that point, we're not looking so hot anymore.
No, and I think, you know, and during the dancing, you have to think of something that, like, you know, the people that are out there dancing are probably the same people going out there on the dance floor.
It's like the inner circle at that point. Yeah,
so
we
like
see them every wedding.
After the first hour that you've captured them, like, you don't want to capture them like after 3-4 drinks.
It's like you only want to see this person so many times.
Right.
And I think the same goes for the beginning of the day. Like some of them want you there at 8 a.m. And I'm like, do you really want to tire out your photographer before you even have your makeup on and you're getting out of bed? You know, so when would you say is like the absolute ideal time to start the photography clock of the day?
So typically like a wedding day is like a 10-hour. I would say is like, you know, 10 hours usually covers up pretty well because you do have enough time prior. You know, I like to get all the details. I like to get the rings, and I like to capture the dress, and, you know, all those little details that they have picked for months, and that, you know.
And that's a newer thing, isn't? Yeah, that's a newer thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, that gives me enough time to just like, you know, try to capture all that stuff for them and not feeling rushed. And then like they have enough time to do their hair, their makeup, and I'm there, you know, for those moments where they're getting ready and they're done with their makeup, and then they're starting to celebrate. You know, that's usually like, you know, a wedding day, what I would say a typical like wedding day.
10 hours. Yeah. That's a long day for you. You probably have like a blister around your eye.
Oh no, no, absolutely. I love it.
I know you do.
Yeah.
It shows.
I really do.
Recently we were talking about, I think I did a post about like getting up at 5:30 and getting ready, and I was talking about what mine looks like. You know, I pack my outfits and everything. Like, what does your Saturday morning look like before you actually are
So
get started?
My Saturday mornings are actually really calm because like I try to get everything packed up the day before.
Yeah.
I have to recharge all my batteries. I clean all my lenses. I put everything in their pockets where they're supposed to go. So Saturday mornings, I seriously just like wake up, have breakfast, drink my coffee, spend some time with my son, just spend time with my family because then he's not going to see me for the whole day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so Saturday mornings for me are really just trying to relax and trying to get mentally prepared so that I can like keep my mind open to any kind of inspiration that can happen throughout the day.
I heard you do other things to prepare.
Oh yeah, so what is that?
I don't know.
Oh my God.
I heard about this uplifting, like inspirational thing you do. Come on, that's what I'm looking for.
Yes. So there is a song that I play just to get pumped up in the car or, before my phone calls. And yeah, that does. I mean, there's a song that I play. It's just like very happy and just puts me in a good mood. Music has always been like part of my life too. So
Yeah. So what is it?
it's Walking on Sunshine.
How perfect. That's perfect. Just saying "Walking on Sunshine" like gets me going.
Yeah, it's just like that whole movement, that whole vibe. That it's just like, okay, this is where I'm gonna start my day.
Perfect song.
Yeah.
Because you know what? We're walking into joy. And that's the weddings that I really like stick with me is when there's love in the room and you can feel it,
Gosh, yes.
And we're so blessed to like work amidst that and to capture that and to just be like in the thick of it.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
So that's the anthem. That's like the theme song. Every time you walk in a room, that song should play.
Yeah, right?
Oh my God. I have to think of a song now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna.
I may steal your song.
Yeah, you can absolutely. Oh my gosh! I mean, it just puts you in a good mood.
So there's this term "dream team." It's we use it a lot, but it really, like, what does it mean to you? Like, what do you think of when you think of dream team?
So, I think one of the most important things, and like I've talked about this with some of my brides lately, is like I don't recommend someone that I don't know is going to give a good product or that can deliver that product. And I'm not saying that like those people are not good or anything, but I have not worked with them, so I cannot vouch for people that I have not worked with. And so the fact of having worked with that videographer or that event planner or that DJ that has like, that is polite, because like, that's part of even the DJs is like, they play this music and they play the right music and everybody's on the floor. So for me, what makes a dream team? I mean, it's just like knowing that you have people that are professionals, that you can trust, that will make your day go by smoothly, and that if there is a situation, they will take care of it without putting stress on you.
Yeah, it's not just being good at what you do.
Yeah.
It's a step beyond that, because this is like life. This is one day in the life. And I think it's not only, and we all, as a collective, the main mission has to be to make it a perfect day for them. And I want them to have perfect photography as much as I want them to have perfect planning, as much as I want them to have perfect music.
Yeah.
And so when I see a dream team, it's a group that gels together, and we feel like this little production team, and we are like a family.
We are.
And there's a network of us, and and it's that I go home feeling like rewarding from not just from doing a great wedding, but like this team came together and made it happen, and it's like
we truly are. Yeah, that's right. We truly are friends, and it really does make you feel. Like, especially like 10-hour days. I mean, it does make you feel a little bit better knowing that you can trust each other and knowing that like you can use the restroom and nobody's like gonna make something happen.
We got your back,
Right.
And the fact that like we still want to hang out like after the 10-hour days is very telling. And I just like enjoy every moment with you. I mean, you've inspired me on so many levels. I remember one of our dinners, we always brainstorm, you know, and you like told me something very important. You were talking about my Instagram post because you have like 85,000 followers and I have like 3. And you were like,
5,000? No.
And you were like, you know, the things you're posting are great, but just like tell the story behind them. And I was like, oh, light bulb, you know, and I did it, and I had fun with doing that.
Oh my gosh, I remember that post.
This is just, not just this is a flower arrangement on a table, but it was like, let me tell you what was behind this.
Yeah.
You know, and that is what and that's what you do.
Well, and it inspires you too, because like how many times do you hear like, you know, professionals saying like, I don't know what to post. Like they have the material, but they don't know what to talk about.
Yeah.
And then like, if you're really just like telling the story and just like saying what really happened, like how did you make that bouquet? Like how did it come together? How did the bride like choose those exact flowers? Like what is the story behind it?
And there's always a story.
There's always a story, yes.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with my couples and their photography. How did they choose their venue?
How did they choose each other?
How do they choose each
You know?
other, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do they like to do together? I mean, that's just like, that's one of my main questions is like, what do you like to do together? All right, let's do it during the engagement session. And they're like, what, really?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah.
It's an easy thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
And you pull it off so well. You do, and it's just such an honor to work with you.
Oh, it
And-
is.
Likewise.
Yeah, and to be your friend.
Yes.
And so thanks for being the first one on meeting the dream team.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting hard shoes to fill there, girl.
Oh, wow, this was an honor, really.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yay.